Resources for domestic violence survivors, help for the homeless, and back to school. This and more up next on this week's edition of Lexington Now. I'm Neil Noah, and this is Lexington Now. Lexington's Office for Domestic Violence Prevention provides help for victims of domestic abuse, and Stephanie Theakston tells us exactly how they do that and fills us in on some of the new resources they have.
The main task is to coordinate the Domestic Violence Prevention Board, which is representatives from all the agencies in town that serve victims of domestic violence.
Stephanie Theakston with Domestic Violence Prevention explains what her office does to facilitate victims of domestic and sexual violence getting the help they need.
There are lots of advocates in the community that are part of the board, that at the police department, at the county attorney's office, at Greenhouse 17, that will work with victims and help them safety plan. So if they are afraid, then the advocate will help them plan out different scenarios, that if this happens, then this is what I do. So safety planning is one of the best things survivors can do for themselves.
Stephanie tells us about some new resources that are now available to victims.
It's a reissue of a book that the board has done for many years, but we reformatted it, redesigned it, and put some updated information in it for survivors. It's input from all of the communities, or all of the services in town, criminal justice, again, social service, and it lays out the steps. There are basically two legal options that survivors have to protect themselves. So it lays out the steps for protective order in civil court, and then what they need to do to press criminal charges in criminal court. And then it lists the different services in town that they can seek out for specific to their experience of domestic violence.
And while her office doesn't provide direct services to victims, they do provide resources to advocates.
We have created a couple of different resources that advocates in the community can access. So we are, through a grant, are able to help provide housing stability for victims, helping them pay either the security deposit or a month's rent if they're lagging behind because of the abuse. They've had to miss work because of court or because of injury. And then we also have a program that allows victims to remain in their homes safely. So we provide security cameras, lock changes, window alarms, that sort of thing.
Stephanie says that her office is looking to expand their services to underserved segments of the community.
People with limited English proficiency, the LGBTQ community, people of color, immigrants, and refugees. So right now, while our newest handbook is only in English, we're currently having it translated into Spanish and hope to develop some resources in other languages soon, such as French, Swahili, Nepali, some of the most common languages spoken in Lexington.
It's been said that the measure of any great society is in how it treats its most unfortunate members, and Lexington takes this to heart through its initiatives to help just those people. Recently, 2 new programs were launched to help the homeless get back on their feet. Polly Reddick explains.
You need to take care of your most vulnerable in order to be a great city. We're always ranked in the top 10 or top 5 for greatest places to live and best places to raise a family and low violence, and I think that just goes to show that this city understands, yes, you can build a great convention center, but you also need to have great social services and a well-oiled homeless system that can take care of folks. So meeting people where they are is big for us, because you may not know where the services are. You may be too ashamed and embarrassed to go ask for those services. I get a lot of phone calls from my office that, they start off kind of timid, and they really don't want to tell me, and they really don't want to talk about, they're embarrassed. I lost my job. We're living in the car with my family and my kids. We find that quite often. They don't want to tell the school system that they're living in the car. They're scared. So to be able to send folks out to them, to meet them in their car, to reassure them it's all going to be okay and we have resources for you, that's huge for this city, and we do that every single day. We do a needs assessment in our community all the time, but pretty seriously about every 5 years. And since the beginning of the time that we've been doing those, transportation and identification are always the top 2 barriers for housing. Securing housing, maintaining housing. If you think in the community how many times you use your ID to access anything, you show it to your doctor, you show it to get in buildings, you show it to get rental, do housing applications for rental property. So when you don't have an ID, you can't access any of that. So last week we launched a new program, a homeless ID assistance program. We developed a letter, and so now any individual that is currently homeless in Fayette County that is staying in one of our shelters or transitional housing programs can take that letter, get that from their caseworker, and go down and not have to worry about coming up with the finances or honestly looking any different when you're standing there to get an ID. So number 1 on any needs assessment is transportation. You and I can get in our cars at any time. We can go look for jobs, we can go look for apartments, we can go to our doctor's appointments. When you do not have transportation and you have no access to get that transportation, you can't do any of that. We started a partnership with Lextran. We prepay for a tap card for Lextran, and then that is issued out of my office, and that gives you access to any Lextran routes, buses, anytime. You can go anywhere in the city for 365 days. So one thing we didn't want to do is limit it to 30 days or 60 days. It takes that long to even start finding and securing housing or employment. In order to access this pass, you have to develop a housing plan. Where do you want to live? What area of Lexington? What are your barriers to securing housing? It's about an 8-page plan. Once we approve that plan, we issue a card. The easiest thing that people can do is call 211 or text their zip code to 211, and they can have a text conversation if they don't have minutes on their phone, which we have quite frequently. You can text, find a hotspot, text 211. They have access to a plethora of resources. They can take care of a lot of needs: food, shelter, assistance, child care assistance. They have access to all of that. The other thing they can do, and I always say, feel free to call my office, 258-3105, especially when it comes to housing or very difficult cases, or if you have a friend of a friend who's really embarrassed and doesn't want anybody to know, feel free to call. It's confidential. We don't share your information around, but we'll give you as many resources as we can.
It's back to school time. We'll tell you how you can help ease the transition after the break.
I'm Sergeant Randall Combs with the Lexington Police Traffic Unit. Accessible parking is a valuable and necessary resource for people with disabilities, and that includes the striped area next to accessible parking spots. These are access aisles, and it is illegal to park here, even if you have an accessible parking permit.
Access aisles are necessary for me to get into my vehicle. They are there because many of us need that space to use our ramps or to transfer into a wheelchair. It's frustrating when a car is parked in the access aisle because I don't have room to get into my van.
Police and LexPark are writing tickets when they see vehicles parked in an access aisle, and the fine is $250. Know where and where not to park. Keep the access aisles clear. Thank you and drive safe.
Welcome back to the show. Fayette County schools are back in session, and that always translates to increased traffic, especially near schools. Here's how you can help make it a safe transition.
If you're out driving and if you see a group of kids and then you see a school bus, you should be prepared to get ready to stop.
That's the advice Marcus Dobbs, in charge of transportation for Fayette County Schools, has for motorists, especially at the start of a new school year.
A lot of times what will happen at the beginning of the school year is oftentimes we'll get calls from parents saying, hey, you've got this bus stop here and it's making me late for work. Well, you know, when school was not in during the summer, we had no bus stops. Now the students are back out to catch the bus, and we sometimes have to suggest to people, maybe you may want to leave 5 minutes earlier so then you pass by that area and you don't end up running into the bus.
Mr. Dobbs cautions drivers to be extra careful in these areas because
there's a procedure that the drivers actually follow, and when they're approaching a stop, they'll hit a button that activates those yellow lights. When they see those yellow lights, they want to treat it, they should treat it just like you do a traffic light out. You know, when you see the traffic light change to yellow, you don't eventually say, oh, well, let me speed up. You're supposed to prepare to stop, because although we do tell our students that they should wait until the stop arm comes out, it's easier for us to train the younger students than it is the much older students, because the high school students, they start thinking, well, I know everything what's going on, and so what they'll do, as soon as that yellow light comes out, sometimes they just start walking right across the street.
He tells us that anytime you see a school bus and its flashing lights,
it's very important that whenever they see the stop arm out, that they stop, because you got to keep in mind we are always transporting most precious cargo, which is students. So whenever that stop arm is out, please wait until the students have crossed and that stop arm is back in before you proceed on.
And while it may seem straightforward what to do on a 2-lane road, rules on 4-lane or divided roads are different.
If we're traveling on Harrisburg Road, where you have 2 lanes going in one direction, 2 lanes going in the other direction, whichever direction the bus is traveling in, when that stop arm comes out, only those individuals that are traveling in the same direction of the bus has to stop in an instance, because then you've got 4 lanes, so then if you've got 2 or more lanes traveling in the same direction, only those individuals have to stop.
Mr. Dobbs has a little advice for school zones.
Naturally, around schools, we have those flashing warning signs. They'll say school zone 25 miles per hour. The school zone is, speed limit is reduced in school zones, and people should just be really careful about, because students are walking along the sidewalks and they're really supposed to wait till they get to where there's a cross guard to cross at a crosswalk. But I'm sure we know students don't always do what they're supposed to do, and so sometimes they'll just run out in the middle of the street.
And although it may be tempting to try to save some time on the road, Mr. Dobbs cautions.
Please just make sure when you see that stop arm out, though, that you do stop, because what our drivers will do is, if they can grab your tag number, then we fill out a form, and unfortunately what happens is then we turn it over to the county attorney's office for prosecution. That can result in a fine and 6 points on your license if you pass a stopped school bus when that stop arm is out. So please don't pass a stopped school bus when that stop arm is out.
From time to time, you may find yourself in the middle of a cleanup or construction project and need to dispose of trash or debris that regular pickup can't handle. That's where the Loan a Box program comes in.
My name is Lauren Monahan, and I work with Lexington's Division of Waste Management. We're here today to talk a little bit about our curbside collection program here in Lexington for those that receive regular city waste pickup each week. We all know here in Lexington that the green cart is for landfill-bound waste or your regular garbage. The blue cart is, of course, for recycling material, and the gray cart is for yard waste material. We also accept a wide variety of items such as mattresses, tires, and other bulky items like furniture or excess bagged waste at the curbside every single week for your disposal convenience. But a lot of people have questions when it comes to move-outs or home renovations or just spring cleaning in general, when you expect to have a lot of excess waste to dispose of. Lexington Fayette Urban County Government is pleased to offer the Loan a Box program to Fayette County residents. This program is a great way to dispose of excess waste in an easy and convenient and affordable way. There's a variety of different materials that aren't necessarily picked up at the curbside through our regular curbside collection program. We accept construction, demolition material, small amounts of bricks and concrete, those materials that we do not regularly pick up. So this would be a great program to participate in if you do have those home renovation projects going on and have this type of material to dispose of. The Loan Box program is available to not just those residents that receive residential weekly city waste pickup, but also those within the urban service district that receive private city pickup. For more information on eligibility, availability, as well as making your reservation and confirming payment over the phone, you can call LexCall 311 and ask for the Loan Box program. You can also go to the website anytime at www.lexingtonky.gov/loanabox. We encourage you to visit our website or call our office directly to find out more information, especially regarding the availability at the time of your call. Our customer service representatives will be happy to assist you in figuring out what will best fit your needs for your project. We also accept credit card payments now, which makes payment even easier. Please note that payments are needed in advance and that availability is limited, so please call as far in advance as possible.
We've got several meetings on our televised schedule this week, beginning on Tuesday with the Planning and Public Safety Committee meeting, followed by the Council work session. On Wednesday, we have the Rural Land Management Board meeting, followed by the Board of Architectural Review. And on Thursday, there's a Planning Commission meeting. These meetings will be live on Channel 185 and on our live stream, and you can find any televised meeting archived at lexingtonky.gov/LexTV, or find our other programming right here or on our YouTube channel, LexTV. That's all for this week. Keep up with us on social media and check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter at LexRex, or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. For the staff and producers at LexTV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.